Across the vast silence of the Atlantic Ocean, a new giant was rising from the Mexican highlands. While Rome was built on war, Teotihuacan was built on a cosmic order terrifying in its perfection. This was the first true metropolis of the Americas, designed not by organic growth, but by mathematical master plan. A central avenue wider than any Roman road sliced through the valley, aligning perfectly with the stars. To the locals, it was the birthplace of the gods, where the sun and moon were created. Dominating the skyline was the Pyramid of the Sun, a mountain of stone painted blood red. It stood as a man-made volcano, mirroring the sacred mountains that surrounded this high-altitude valley. Unlike the chaotic streets of Rome, this city was a rigid grid of white plaster and red murals. There were no slums here, only standardized apartment compounds housing over 100,000 people in total. Citizens lived in stone palaces with drainage systems that rivaled the best engineering of the Roman Empire. But beneath this pristine architectural order lay a society driven by a desperate fear of cosmic collapse. They believed the sun would die unless fed with sacred energy maintained by rigid rituals and sacrifice. The city was a magnet drawing merchants from jungles thousands of miles away to trade green jade. Obsidian workshops churned out razor-sharp blades, acting as the industrial factories of the ancient Mesoamerican world. The marketplace was a sensory explosion of colorful feathers, jaguar skins, and cacao beans used as currency. Foreigners from the Maya lands lived in their own districts, bringing exotic customs to the highland capital. Yet strangely, there were no statues of kings, no glorious tombs for individual rulers found anywhere here. It seemed to be a collective utopia ruled by faceless lords who hid behind masks of gods. This anonymity created a psychological pressure, a feeling that the city itself was the only true ruler. Inside the temples, priests performed bloodletting in smoke-filled rooms, trying to keep the universe in motion. Under the Pyramid of the Moon, bound captives were buried alive to consecrate the massive stone expansions. They engineered a river of Mercury beneath the Feathered Serpent temple to simulate the shimmering underworld waters. This toxic metal lake was a map of the cosmos hidden in absolute darkness under the earth. Above ground, the city gleamed in the sun, a blinding testament to human will over wild nature. The Street of the Dead was not a place of silence, but a grand stage for processions. Thousands would gather to watch rituals that blended politics and religion into a single terrifying spectacle. Rain gods were worshipped with desperation, as the high valley depended entirely on the whims of weather. The walls of every building whispered stories through intricate frescoes depicting paradise and fearsome storm deities. It was a civilization at its absolute zenith, unrivaled in size and power across the entire continent. Yet the seeds of its destruction were already planted in the very environment they stripped for resources. Forests were burned to make the lime plaster that covered the city, creating an ecological time bomb. Social tension simmered within the apartment compounds as the gap between elites and commoners slowly widened. The rigid order that built the city would eventually become the cage that suffocated its own people. But in the year 100, the city was invincible, a beacon of civilization in a green world. It stood as proof that humanity could tame the chaos of the jungle and build a mountain. Even centuries later, the Aztecs would look at these ruins and whisper that giants must have lived here. Teotihuacan remains a silent witness to a golden age that burned bright before vanishing into mystery. The architectural skeleton left behind challenges us to understand a mind so different from our own. As the sun sets over the Avenue of the Dead, the shadows of the past grow long. The city of gods sleeps, waiting for its story to be told to a new world.